It's Darcy here with Android Authority, reporting live from Mobile World Congress 2015. I'm here with Alex Wojka. He's a technology PR specialist with Imagination. And Imagination, in case you're not familiar, is...
Imagination is a company that designs IP technology, and we have a Power VR, graphics and video, we have MIPS CPUs, and we have segment connectivity, so Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. So a whole range of IP designed for mobile and embedded devices.
It's pretty smooth.
Yes.
So, I mean, a lot of people probably realize the fact that Apple continues to license your GPU technology year after year, and you're very confident. So we spoke to you a year ago. What kind of performance gains are we talking about in the GPU space?
Yeah, so in Power VR GPUs, we're now at the Series 7 family. Last year we were talking about Series 6 and Series 6 XT. This year we're talking about Series 7, which includes two families, one targeting the entry level, and that is the Series 7 XC, and one targeting the mid-range and high-end, and that's the Series 7 XT. Just before the event, actually, we introduced a super GPU. It's a 16-cluster GPU with 512 ALU cores, especially designed for the Android gaming console market. So really high performance, up there to compete with consoles and desktop GPUs, but also very ultra low power. So delivering very high performance, but at something that fits in a very slim game console.
Nice. So in terms of the kind of performance and throughput we're talking about, you have a lot of ways to be able to measure how powerful your GPUs are. So what are the things you look at when you're measuring performance?
Yeah, so the way we measure performance, we try to offer consumers a feel for how their devices with Power VR will perform in the real world. So what we do is we use a combination of benchmarks, popular benchmarks that consumers actually run on their devices, and also some of our own code, some of real world applications as well. So the way we measure it is we run on the current generation, and then we run on the previous generation, and we give people a feel for how fast those GPUs are. So right now, for example, Series 7 XT, we expect a 60% increase over 6 XT, which was the previous generation.
Very nice stuff. So now we're looking at the partner ecosystem. You've been working with a lot of different manufacturers.
Yeah.
We have Dell back here, we have Lenovo. Obviously, Apple continues to be a really great partner.
Yeah, and also we have our very own Android. We call him the butcher because he's butchering our competition. But yeah, we have our own Android robot here from courtesy of Google. So yeah, we work closely with all of the major suppliers, whether it's software or hardware. Very close relationship with Google, because a lot of the Android devices today use Power VR and a range of other technologies that we deliver.
So a year ago, most people, within the Android space weren't talking about MIPS, but now Android 5.0 Lollipop and beyond will support MIPS.
Yeah.
And you'd mentioned before when we were talking that you guys have shipped 800 million CPUs in 2014.
That's really incredible. Actually, last year was the most successful year in the history of MIPS.
Yeah.
We've shipped over 800 million MIPS CPUs, and we predict that the number will continue to grow. And you are correct, Android 5.0 has now support for 64-bit and 32-bit MIPS CPUs. And we introduced just last year a new 64-bit high-performance CPU called the i6400. And we're really excited about how this CPU is going to change the landscape of mobile and embedded computing. It has things like hyper-threading, so the same technology that you have in desktop PCs will now be available in mobile and embedded devices. It has virtualization, so again, things that you would normally have in a server now in your pocket in the near future. So all these technologies that were previously available only in the desktop space, we've brought them over into mobile, but also did a lot of power efficiency improvements to make sure that you don't run out of battery in a day. So a lot of our strengths are actually in delivering very high performance at low power consumption.
So I mean, Imagination is a lot of different things. So we have wearables. You mentioned before game consoles. NVIDIA and others are investing in them quite heavily. We have in-car connected experience. I guess what I'm trying to say is, we have Mali in terms of GPU for mobile.
Yeah.
We have Mali. We have Adreno through Qualcomm. We have a lot of different offerings. And how competitive do you think Imagination is to this day relative to your competitors?
Yeah, so if you look at some of the public information out there, there is GFX Bench, for example, has been really good in implementing these long-term performance modes and benchmarks where you can run a device for about 30 minutes because everybody could look good in a 1-minute benchmark. You can just increase the frequency and run really fast for a minute, but that is not how people use mobile devices. People tend to use mobile devices for tens of minutes, sometimes even hours. You now have these virtual handsets with VR that you put right in your face. So if you're running that for about 2 hours to watch a movie or watch a game or something, if that device gets really hot, it's right in your face, so it can become quite uncomfortable. So for example, like I said, GFX Bench has this mode where they do long-term performance, and what we've seen is that over time we sustain performance. So we deliver between 90 and 95% of the original peak performance, whereas some of the competition drops to 40% or 50% of their original peak performance. So there's a big gap there between 90% and 40 or 50%.
Good stuff. And there was a whole fiasco about benchmarking last year, but
yeah. And then they've done a lot of things to improve that, including, like I said, adding these long-term performance modes where you can actually see how your device will perform over a long period of time.
Good stuff. Well, keep it competitive, keep it fast, and keep improving so we can all have desktop class experiences on our phones and tablets in the future. Is there anything else you think that's relevant adding?
Yeah, sure. We also have some very cool MIPS devices running Android. Gary, again, did a wonderful job covering our Creator CI20 board that runs Linux and Android as well. But we also have a very cool smartwatch that has a MIPS dual-core CPU and runs Android. Has a very interesting dual screen technology where when the device is turned off, you have an e-ink display that consumes almost zero battery. And when the device is turned on, if you want to check your notifications and so on, you then have a LCD display that lights up, and you have a very beautiful looking display that you can use. So this combination of very low power MIPS dual core CPU, but also a dual screen technology for optimizing battery consumption is, I think, a very unique combination that hopefully more manufacturers will adopt in the future.
And do you think it's likely in 2015 or 2016 we'll see a MIPS-powered smartphone?
Yeah, I sure hope so, because it's a way for people to differentiate, right? It's a way for them to show, again, all these wonderful technologies that consumers get excited about in the desktop space, like hyper-threading or like virtualization, making their way into devices. And finally, you have a technology that you can actually promote to consumers, and consumers understand because they've used it on their PCs and laptops. So yeah, very high performance and also very low power. So I really hope that we're going to see some MIPS-based mobile devices coming in the future.
Yeah, me too, actually. Well, thank you very much for your time, sir. It was a real pleasure. All right. Darcy signing off here. Imagination 2015 Mobile World Congress.